Check it out, y'all. These are the top headlines from the month of April, fresh from the garden. The flowers have really been popping. I've had to reseed. I ordered some plants, y'all. Got the shade cloth back up. It's a peanut plant, some leafy greens. I'm gonna grow some chayote. Check out the progress sweet potato slips that I've been making. What's up, everybody? This is Scott from New Garden Road. I'm here to inform, inspire, and elevate you. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and spread the word. While you're at it, subscribe and get notified for more gardening action. So I've really enjoyed the flower display that we've had going. The snapdragons, the delphiniums, the larkspur, they've all been doing really well as the pansies that I planted in the fall, still kicking it. Deadheading is a really good practice for keeping the blooms coming in the garden. It's one of those things that you can easily forget to do. In the case of the delphiniums, once they get done with their large bloom spike, I typically cut that off, and it's got some more that are shooting up around it that really take over, and you just don't see that stub any longer. I'm taking similar action with the larkspur and keeping it from going to seed straight away, pruning back those spikes, and it'll keep setting flowers. With the snapdragons, I'm gently pinching off the spent flower heads. That's just tidying it up a little bit. It's looking like these pansies have called it quits with these temperatures in the 80s we were getting. I think it's time to pull them and plant something else. Here's an update on all these seed starting that I've been doing. I don't start any seeds indoors. I just don't have the space allocated at this time. I start everything directly in my garden beds. That does present a few unique challenges which require some due diligence, some observation. Specifically, I'm talking about crops like beans. One thing that I noticed is they haven't been popping up. Upon closer investigation, what I'm finding is that the pill bugs, the roly-polies, they're getting them before they even pop up. I was recently reseeding some lima beans, and what I discovered was a few pill bugs hovered over one little spot. When I brushed them to the side, I could see the top of the stem from the seed head. They had nibbled on it with their rasping mouth parts. The head of the seedling had become completely detached from the stem, and therefore nothing came up. I think that's one of the advantages of starting seeds indoors, is because you don't have these insects there to cause some type of disturbance or otherwise a failure in your seed starting. There's one specific product that I like to use to control some of these critters, and that's the Sluggo Plus. The active ingredient is spinosad. It shouldn't harm any other beneficial insects. It's going to be a ground bait that the roly-polies and the slugs and snails will feed on. If you do it in the area where you're direct seeding, that can help to decrease the population a little bit, and that can really help you as you're getting things started. So I got my squash to sprout, and I'm really excited. I have 17 plants, 3 different varieties. One thing that I'm keeping my eye out for is the squash vine borer and the eggs that it lays on those plants. Sure enough, yesterday I saw one of the adult borers flying around my squash plants. Now, I know some people are going to have that reaction where they get upset, they get angry, they're going to try to kill that bug. I don't know, maybe that's the best thing to do for your garden, but I just don't have the heart to kill those moths. I know that they probably do some things that are beneficial in the garden and in the environment. I think these are beautiful creatures. I really rely on the organic balance in my garden, but I will take off the eggs. In my closer inspections of the squash, I did find some squash bugs. Now, I saw these in the last few weeks. I saw 1 or 2 adults here and there, and then I started to notice the eggs. They have a signature look. You want to keep your eyes peeled for those. Remove them just like you do the squash vine borer eggs. The adults you can pull off by hand, throw those in your bucket of soapy water. Either way, I'm taking 2 key actions with both those insects. I'm monitoring for the eggs to prevent future generations, and I'm actively, in the case of the squash bugs, I am eliminating the adults. I've got my corn up. It's growing really well. Really nice interplanting here of Seminole, pumpkins, and corn. This is my first planting of corn. This is a Japanese striped corn combined with the tromboncino vining squash. I like to plant my corn in trenches so I can dirt it up, give it some more stability. Once it's about 6 inches tall, I'll dirt it up. At that point, I'll thin it out to the strongest plant. These are no longer in trenches. They've got a really good base structure. All right, I present to you the carrot mohawk in honor of carrots as well as cucumbers, which I've seeded here on the right. Here's my bed of watermelon. I've got that interplanted with some zinnias as well as a little cilantro here down at the end. I think it's pretty warm for cilantro, but I had some seed and it sprouted. We'll give it a shot. And I've got the wire covered over the bed. It's a good deterrent from cats pawing in your garden beds. but you have to remove that wire before the seedlings get past it. That's real important. I ordered some plants, y'all. I had some plants delivered. Lone Star, certified organic, specializing in some unique edible and medicinal plants. Really great organic starts. Now, I was excited because the local nurseries here in Austin have been closed for a while, so I got all kind of stuff. I got a couple of tomatoes, a couple of peppers, some leafy greens. I'm gonna be making another flat panel trellis for these real soon. It's a peanut plant that's gonna get a good size and take over, work like a cover crop. Check this out. That's the yacon, related to the sunflower, has an edible tuber. Mad scientist out here. It's always good to have some plants to plant in your garden. So this is the time of year when I really need to think about what types of greens I can grow. This is one of the other leafy greens that I'm trying. It's called Good King Henry, perennial edible leafy vegetable. The perpetual spinach that I got planted is kind of keeled over just because of the sun. This is a golden purslane. Stems and leaves are edible. This is a New Zealand spinach. That one's really prolific. And this one here, the Jewels of Opar. All those have a grassier type flavor to me, a little bit stronger. I can eat a big bowl of kale or a salad, but some of these warm season greens I have to take into a little bit more moderation. It's important to get those greens growing in the garden throughout the warm season. You want to balance out all those beans and everything that you're growing, and you practically have a complete meal. So check it out. You're gonna have to test that out on your palate. They're not gonna be for everyone. A lot of people talk about the texture of some of these greens. You just have to try it. See how they grow, see how you like it. That's an edible resource for you. You need to be aware of those. You can grow them in your own backyard, 100% organic, super fresh, nutritious. Our 10-day forecast looks pretty toasty. We've got the shade cloth back up, trying to extend the season for these cool season crops. We are 80 and 90 degrees regularly now. This is a 40% shade cloth. I've got it affixed to my hoop house structure. This is the southwest side. It's gonna be the sunniest, hottest side. And I've got the kale plants here covered with this shade cloth. I tried a late season planting for some lettuce, arugula, and mustard greens, and I'm protecting those with the shade cloth as well. Hopefully keep them from bolting as quickly and give me a chance to harvest at least once. This bed is wild. I've got 6 celery plants, some bolted lettuce called Mayan Jaguar. Really cool looking. I just left it. And I've interplanted mustard, arugula, lettuce, and there's okra. All these guys are cozy under this 40% shade cloth, and I'm hoping the okra is going to get growing, provide some natural shade, and then take over. So check out the progress that I'm making with my garlic, my onions, and my potatoes. I think the garlic are getting pretty close. I want to let them brown up just a little bit more, probably about a third brown, and then I'm going to pull them for curing. We've been smelling the garlic out here as we work. In the day, it's warming up. Felt like the soil was getting kind of dry, so I just gave them a deep soaking. Now I'm gonna let them dry out in the bed. It looks like I've got some winners in there. These onions are sizing up beautifully. I can't wait to have some homegrown onions. Bulbing onions are pretty easy to grow. If you're in Central Texas, you wanna plant those by the end of January. Can you tell by looking the red onions on the right side? The necks are getting a little soft in the stem. They start to give way a little bit. Once they all display that, then you'll let them dry out in the bed and cure them further for a couple weeks after you pull them. Here are the potatoes. Got 5 varieties growing, including an experiment from the grocery store with a russet. They take off so fast. They were really upright with a lot of strong growth, and then we got a thunderstorm. It's inevitable. This happens every time, every spring. And I've seen some flowers. Have you ever seen potato flowers? They're really beautiful. As it goes, they can actually produce a fruit. Now, you don't want to eat this because the solanine content will make you sick. I'm anticipating that all of these crops will be ready in the month of May. It's going to be an abundant season, May going into June. Can't wait to have some homegrown potatoes. And I can't wait to plant my sweet potato slips that I've been making. These are store-bought sweet potatoes. They were grown at a local farm. I've been growing slips here since early March. What progress they've made. Edible greens too. That's one of your warm season greens. Sweet potato leaves. I'm estimating in the next 2 weeks I'll plant at least some of these slips that I'm growing. I've been working on sprouting some chayote, the whole fruit, and I've got them growing. They're putting on some nice green leaves, making some beautiful tendrils. I don't know if they've really set roots yet, but fingers crossed I'm gonna grow some chayote. I've had a really good time out here looking at these pipevine swallowtail eggs each day, waiting for them to hatch. I'm going to try to show you under this leaf they've hatched out on this side. Growing this Dutchman's pipevine as a host plant for the pipevine swallowtail butterfly. And I got some caterpillars All right, I want you to check it out. I am resurrecting the trellis for my star jasmine back here. I've got 5 star jasmine plants. There's also a purple clematis at the end of this. Working with what I have so far, making a new trellis for it to grow on. I'm also planting some seeds here in the open space. Yeah, I call this my compost bed. I made it several years ago out of my first pile of compost that I made here. All right, here we go, down and dirty before the sun comes out. Come on, Clouds, hang around. Help me out one time. Check this out. There are some wild animals in the garden today that I have not seen before. Sweet girl, Izzy. Wag that tail. Roll in that grass. Check out some of these other awesome gardening videos on my channel. You can grow your own food. Keep it organic.